And using these ships, Admiral Zhen He came to the Indian Ocean. And he sailed all over the Indian Ocean. He came to, he went to Indonesia, where of course the main rival to the Chinese were the Hindu empire of the Majapahit, which was a Hindu empire of what is now Indonesia. He came to Sri Lanka, he came to India, he went to Africa and to Arabia. Now it is important, while he was trading, it is important to remember that this was primarily a projection of power, because do remember that these are not voyages of exploration. Indians, or indeed even the Chinese, had been sailing these waters for hundreds of years before that. So what they were really doing was signaling that, look, yes, we were conquered by the Mongols, but China is back. That is what they were signaling, and they made repeated voyages. Indeed, they did a lot of geopolitical maneuvering also in the Indian Ocean. So, for example, they tried to change the king of Sri Lanka and put their own candidate there. Since they were suspicious of the Hindu Majapahit empire in Indonesia, they actually backed an Islamic kingdom in Malacca. So they encouraged the local king of Malacca to convert to Islam, and then they backed it to fight against the Majapahit. So you can see the Chinese have been in this area doing their thing for a very long time. And this is what Admiral Zhen He as well did. And he made repeated voyages. So if around about the 1435 or so, you had asked anybody, you know, some part of the world is going to dominate the world, can you guess who that's going to be? They were almost always, everybody was going to say China, not Europe. They were all going to say China. They were ahead technologically. They were already geopolitically powerful. They had taken over large parts of the world's oceans. So, you know, everybody would have said, you know, next few centuries belongs to China. But then something very interesting happened. You see, the Ming emperor died, and a new Ming emperor came to the throne. And this new emperor had been brought to the throne because of the support of the Confucian mandarins, which is the bureaucrats. And the Confucian mandarins were suspicious of their rivals in court, who were the eunuchs, like Admiral Zhen He. So they did what all good bureaucrats do. They switched off the money. They must have made the procurement process very, very complicated, as you can imagine. Simple way to shut down the military. And in fact, the Chinese Navy was never defeated in war. All that happened was that it rotted. It literally rotted in the port. And the records of these great voyages of Zhen He were completely suppressed. In fact, they did such a good job of it that it's only in the 20th century, late 20th century, that we have now begun to discover the importance of these great voyages of Zhen He. So, there was no sudden collapse of Chinese power. It slowly faded away. Chinese support, of course, continued to various vassals in the Indian Ocean. For example, Malacca fought against the Majapahit, pushed them back and back, till the last of the Majapahit withdrew to Bali, where they continued to remain Hindu. But rest of Indonesia basically over time became Islamic. As I said, the Islamization of Southeast Asia was a Chinese geopolitical project. Not many people know this.